I was skeptical about this one until I actually put it to work in the garage. I'd heard the name Ingersoll Rand before, mostly from guys who've been running the same compressor for 20 years without a hiccup, but I figured all that cast iron muscle would come with a price tag that made my wallet flinch. Then I spotted the Type-30 sitting on the shelf at a price that felt almost reasonable, so I grabbed it and brought it home to see if it could really handle a weekend of framing, a couple of quarts of auto paint, and still have enough left for the occasional nail gun. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First thing that hit me was the weight. This thing feels like it's carved from a single block of rock. That 100% cast iron crankcase and cylinder head aren't just for show, they soak up vibration so well the whole unit hums instead of rattles. I set it on a piece of 3/4-inch plywood in the corner, and after 3 hours of continuous use the floor underneath was barely warm. If you've ever had a cheaper compressor walk across the shop floor like a caged tiger, you'll appreciate that stability. Power-wise, the 5 HP motor pulls 230 volts on a single phase, so you don't need a fancy 3-phase hookup. I ran it off a 20-amp circuit with my table saw on the same leg and never tripped the breaker. It filled the 60-gallon tank from empty to 135 psi in about 4 minutes, fast enough that I wasn't sitting around waiting when I needed to keep spraying. The thin copper intercooler tucked between the stages knocks the heat down quick, so the moisture that collects in the tank is noticeably less than what I see in cheaper 2-stage units. Less moisture means fewer rust spots on tools and less purging before I start a fresh batch of paint. The pump itself is a single-piece connecting rod, which Ingersoll Rand says reduces wear points. After a couple of months of regular use I pulled the inspection cover and the rod looked brand new, no shiny spots, no scoring. That's the kind of detail you only notice when you've rebuilt cheaper compressors 3 times in a year. Speaking of maintenance, if you drop in their maintenance kit every 1,000 hours you get an extended 2-year warranty on the pump. I keep a spare kit in the drawer now. It's cheaper than a service call and takes about 20 minutes to swap the valves and seals. Noise level is another surprise. I measured it at about 78 decibels at 3 feet, which is roughly the same as a vacuum cleaner. That's quiet enough to run while I'm on the phone or trying to watch a game without having to crank the TV volume every time the compressor kicks in. The belt drive design helps with that, no metal-on-metal clatter like some direct drive units I've owned. I've used it to run a 6-gallon pancake for brad nailing baseboards, a 2.5-gallon for touch-up work, and the big 10-gallon HVLP gun for clear coat without ever hearing the motor labor. Even when the tank pressure dropped to 90 psi the motor never bogged down, so my spray pattern stayed consistent. That kind of steady airflow is gold when you're trying to lay down a flawless finish. One thing to keep in mind, it's heavy, around 260 pounds empty, so plan your spot before you wheel it in. I ended up bolting it to a 2x6 frame anchored to the floor so it couldn't tip if I yanked a hose too hard. Also, the standard warranty is 1 year on parts and labor, but like I mentioned earlier, the pump warranty jumps to 2 years if you stick to the maintenance schedule. That's a nice safety net if you're putting in long hours. All in all, this compressor has earned its place in the shop. It's built like a tank, runs quieter than I expected, and keeps up with everything I throw at it without drama. If you're tired of compressors that sound like jackhammers and need rebuilds every 6 months, give the Type-30 a look. You'll find the link below.